Yeah.
Right. Okay. 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 Great. That looks wonderfully simple.
It is simple.
I mean,
It's
I like
just,
when you power it on, you got a view plate, you got a volume knob, that's all you
it's
got.
really not complicated, but
Yeah.
first of all, you gotta know where all the stuff is.
Yeah.
And, which I did before like last week. And, and then you have to go through it once to just,
Yeah.
and, you know, Catherine and Ethan, they know their way around. So once you get all the shit out here, so, you know, so you can figure it out.
And then one of these other
Yeah, you know, yeah. And this is like an off, you could probably, you could plug your phone in here.
I will try. Good morning, sir.
It has a Bluetooth button, yeah. So yeah. Quarter-inch jack or quarter-inch jack. You can also put this down. They're really cool. These jacks that have a big hole in the middle. Yeah, yeah. I've never, you know, I don't know. I don't know the distinction. Right. Well, they also have, see, volume-based treble reverb. You know, so you can. I'm not. I could probably if you press on this. Yeah. So now we can mess with the treble. Now we can mess with the bass. We can mess with the reverb.
So we're not going that deep.
If Catherine and Ethan want to mess with that,
Go for it.
Yeah.
Catherine's going to sing the bass parts today. And
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we strive to love beyond belief. My name is Peter Van Erp, and I serve as worship associate for today. Wherever you have found yourself on life's journey, whatever faiths you have found or lost, whatever you wear, whomever you love, find hope and inspiration with us. You are welcome here. During the summer, while our minister is away, the worship committee hosts a series of services which are led by church members or friends. This morning, Rick McIntyre, who just snuck away on me, will be leading the service. Rick has been a member of First Unitarian since 1997. He is an actor, writer, storyteller, and amateur paranormal investigator at the Lizzie Borden House in Fall River. We extend our thanks to our accompanist, Stu Armstrong, and to Allison Green, who will be our musician this morning. Friends, let us live into this, the day we have been given. join me in the words of our chalice lighting as printed in your order of service. This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights our path towards harmony and justice for all. We now enter into a time to greet one another and share a friendly word. If we might just take a moment and wave to those joining us from home. The camera's in the back of the room. Please join me in the words of our covenant as printed in your order of service. We, the members of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the light we know by many names, and with gratitude for our deep connection to each other and to the larger web of existence, covenant to walk together in our search for truth, seeking the paths of wisdom, compassion, and justice. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able and join in singing Spirit of Life, hymn number 123 from the Gray Hymnal. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and mysteries of this great gift. I will now read the joys and sorrows of this congregation written in the book at the back of the meeting house. We recognize these joys and sorrows with candles lit from the flame atop the pedestal from our partner church in Transylvania. A candle of good luck and Godspeed to my spouse as I leave tomorrow for a week-long trip. Just 4 wild kids and multiple camp drop-offs and pickups. What could go wrong? In the words of Mary Oliver, to live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. For our time of prayer and meditation, I turn to The Agnostic's Prayer by Roger Zelazny, from Creatures of Light and Darkness. Insofar as I may be heard by anything, which may or may not care what I say, I ask, if it matters, that you be forgiven for anything you may have done or failed to do which requires forgiveness. Conversely, if not forgiveness, but something else may be required to ensure any possible benefit for which you may be eligible after the destruction of your body, I ask that this, whatever it may be granted or withheld, as the case may be, in such a manner as to ensure your receiving said benefit. I ask this in my capacity as your elected intermediary between yourself and that which may not be yourself, but which may have an interest in the matter of your receiving as much as it is possible for you to receive this thing, and which may in some way be influenced by this ceremony. Amen. Let us now enter into a period of silent meditation. During this period of silence, if you have lost someone close to you in the past, you may stand or raise your hand and recognize in recognition of that loss.
Good morning. This sermon has one title on the cover of the order of service, another inside, and a third that I could read, but I'll leave you in mystery. On an otherwise nondescript morning in March 2022, I pulled into the parking lot of the Lizzie Borden House in Fall River, Mass. I saw a woman standing against the wall of the parking lot wearing a fancy Victorian-era dress, along with a hat and veil, all in black. I thought, a cosplayer on the first tour of the morning. This has to be an omen of some kind. I'll return to that story later because it's not what I came to talk about. I came to talk about the Venn diagram of haunted houses and Unitarian Universalism. I was raised in the latter by my adopted mother, and I was not like my Catholic friends who, when they asked their priest what God looked like, would receive a fairly concise description: old man, white robes, long beard, already disappointed in you. Growing up Unitarian, the same question resulted in an adult handing me blank paper and crayons saying, "Show us what you think God might look like," which is great for keeping young hands busy, but not much use as a theological answer, even for the young. As a kid, you develop a gut sense when adults use a lot of words to say, "I don't know, but can't let myself admit that to you." Over the years, I developed and maintain a discomfortable agnostic view of life, the universe, what is knowable and what is not. I believe something with a capital S out there. I surely want to believe this. I just don't know enough to know for sure. And with all due respect of other religions and ways of thought or faith, neither do you. The good news is neither does anybody else, which is also the bad news, but none of us have been on the other side of the veil between the material world and the realm of pure spirit, or the veil of life and death, and anyone who says they have and have come now back to share the truth with you is selling something to you. We can't quantify near-death experiences, and talking with the dead is uncertain at best. We don't have the ghosts under contract at the Borden house, and sometimes during the ghost hunt events, the house is quiet, and other times very much not. Would-be ghost hunters have to have a certain amount of faith and acceptance that, like a whale watch, sometimes the stars of this show simply won't appear that night. And people who are hoping to see Lizzie's ghost holding a bloody hatchet have to learn about managing expectations. Sometimes it's just dead batteries and flickering lights, and they have to find faith in those small cues and details. Harry Houdini tried to find proof of life after death and verifiable communication with those gone beyond. It upset him how many charlatans there were out there preying on the vulnerable and grieving. He devised a code with his wife so that after his death, when she visited spirit mediums, they would use a code word to identify that it was indeed him, speaking from beyond the grave. She went to many mediums after his death. She never heard the word. So does this mean communication with the dead doesn't exist, or that there is no life after death? I get questions like this at the Borden house all the time. Can ghosts do this or that? Will Lizzie be here? Like I have a technical guide to refer to. Again, I don't know. I don't know the ghost rules. For that matter, I could never figure out what God looked like either. Even urged to draw whatever I imagined, there are no bad answers. I was intimidated. I mean, I could easily imagine a hugely creative force that made all the universe and was both loving and very big. I don't have to see something to believe in it. I've never been to Paris, but I'm fairly sure it's not a running joke I'm not in on. But if you told me right now there's someone in Paris that loves me unconditionally, well, I would have a tough time taking that on faith. I could imagine a God that knew every fish in the sea and the planet Saturn personally. I just couldn't imagine the God that could or would care particularly about me out of 8 billion other human souls. And while I grew a crab scowling armor to protect myself from, God forbid, being the butt of some life's practical joke, I always secretly admired people who made their faith into peace of mind, that this faith somehow equaled an ability to see the magic behind the face of the world. Ever since I started working in what is described as one of America's top 10 haunted houses, I have had many experiences that defy mundane explanation. Murmuring voices behind closed doors of empty rooms, footsteps on upper floors when I'm alone in the house, doors that open and close without reason or cause, things that show up in photographs, etc., etc. While I don't take every bump or odd circumstance to be the work of ghosts, unless there are guests there, in which case it is ABBG, always be blaming ghosts. Still, there are so many times when the hairs on the back of my neck or my peripheral vision tells me in no uncertain terms I am not alone in the house. So I have without doubt accepted there are things and events in the house that defy science-based rational explanations. And while over the time I have worked there, I have picked up things by watching other more experienced ghost hunters at work, I find I want to know more, not to prove or disprove once and for all whether ghosts exist or whether we can communicate with the dead or otherworldly entities, beyond any doubt. No, I want to experience this wonder in more depth. I want to know, or at least have the chance to see all the things I may never be able to understand completely. My agnosticism serves me well in the haunted house. I don't jump at every noise or take every oddity as proof of ghosts, like I said. It's an old house and things creak and fall apart by themselves and don't require dead hands. I feel you, house, I feel you. My decay has been mostly due to natural causes as well. But familiarity does risk breeding, if not contempt, then complacency. And there is a risk when you've worked anywhere to have wonder become commonplace. Oh, yep, footsteps on the stairs to the 3rd floor. No one up there when I checked. Must be Tuesday. I never want to get like that. So I work to keep faith in the house's general paranormality so that I can truly appreciate when something new happens. Like this last Wednesday, I was looking for housekeeping staff and heard voices in the basement laundry room. But when I checked, no one was there. But what made this time special was that I had called out at the top of the stairs, "Anyone there?" And I distinctly heard someone say, "Yes." It's not the first time I've spoken to whatever's in the house, but it is the first time something answered back. And I do talk to the dead every day. When I first walk in to set things in place before the first tour, I say, "Good morning, ghosts." I do this out of respect for the fact that my dream job chases its existence to a brutal and still unsolved double murder. Having been told by a ghost whisperer, and yes, they do exist, that the ghosts of 2 children reside in the basement during the day, and, quote, "they appreciate a heads up before you come down, they are shy," I took it on faith and make a point to say hello to them before I come down to the basement. It requires little of me, and it feels respectful. I also say hello to the shadowy thing that might be Eliza, but if you want to know more about that, take the tour. Outside the house, I am largely involved in recovery support groups where I have learned another kind of faith that works almost the exact opposite of a haunted house. People who have come so close to death to have felt its breath on their neck, and despite an often sum total of disbelief that some human shipwreck could arrest, let alone recover from an incurable disease, I have seen time after time people stop it in its track and become not just functional human beings in the world, but also people who make it their life's work to be the hand that reaches out between the veil of addiction and recovery and communicates in that singular way that exists only between people who have suffered the same living death. Medical science can't fully explain that either. This ability for one drunk to get through to another when no one else can. But the evidence mounts that people have come back to life by looking in their eyes and watching them step into their lives and the lives of those around them as contributing members of a living world. It's this common miracle. You gotta just take it on faith. Almost every day I see dead people come back to life. So in closing, what has changed in me, excuse me, over the time I've worked at the house? Well, I'm still a spiky crab of a human. I'm cynical. I'm dubious of anything at face value. I still believe mostly that smiling is overrated and a waste of good facial muscle energy that could be better used for just raising one eyebrow at everything. But when people reach out to me for something, I am at least able to try and help them. Not with some special skill or paranormal ability, just by sharing recovery stories from my experience overcoming alcohol addiction and mental health struggles. I help them by sharing what I have, a story, which is what I do at work every day as well. And even through the depression, I maintain a hungry curiosity of all the things that are out there to learn about, including other people. And maybe faith does feed miracles because I've been able to help people like me. So I want to finish that story from the beginning of the sermon. As I said before, I vet everything I see or experience at the house through analysis filters before I believe it's paranormal in nature. So between when I saw her and the 20 feet to where I parked the car, she had disappeared. Well, there was nowhere she could have gone in those seconds where I wouldn't have been able to see her. So I thought about what had just happened. Did I see what I thought I saw, or did a quick glance of a brief overhead shadow turn into something else? The mind can fill in all sorts of details when it wants to. But I kept coming back to the details, the ruffles in the dress, the shadowy profile I saw through that lace veil. I filed it in the back of my mind. Weeks later, I was finishing yet another book on the Borden murders, and it ended by talking about how in her later years, Lizzie would occasionally stop by the house that she and her sister had rented out after they moved out, and she never went back inside again. Since she remained controversial to her death, the book finished with a sentence: "In order to keep her anonymity in Fall River, Ms. Borden would dress all in black and wear a hat with a veil." I know what I saw. You are invited to believe whatever you wish. Thank you. Sorry, old age. And since we often see orbs at the house, what an awesome segue to the next hymn, This Little Light of Mine. It's number 118.
We have been warmed by fires we did not build, and we have drunk at wells we did not dig. And we have gathered in fellowship in this space that is far older than any of us here assembled. But it is in this space that we create and create anew that which bonds us to one another. We pass our collection baskets to make a community expression of thanks for our many blessings, those we have witnessed and those yet to come. As noted in your order of service, we have entered the modern age, and you may donate by text from your mobile device. The morning offering for the work of the congregation will now be generously given and gratefully received. Our services next Sunday will be led by Karen Silva Sabitoni, who will be reminding us that there's no place like home. There's no place like home. We look forward to seeing you then. Please join us for refreshments, probably not in the breezeway, across the breezeway in the parish house after this service. And also, we'd like to remind you that if you're coming to the church for any business tomorrow, they're going to be working on the tree in the parking lot, so there will be no parking for visitors in the lot. And be sure to check the First U Times, which is sent every Friday afternoon for all the important information you need about upcoming events. First U Times is sent by email to all members, friends, and anyone else who signs up to receive it. You can access it and sign up through the church website or fill out a guest registry form at the welcome table. Please join me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry this flame of peace and love until we meet again.